Hello to you. Thank you so much for joining us here. I'm Nada Irampour, and here at CBS 8, we are working for you. We're getting to the bottom of problems you have asked us about, and we are looking for solutions. We begin now in Poway, where some people say an ongoing project to improve the area's first aqueduct is doing the opposite to their homes and the landscape around it. CBS 8's Shannon Handy working for you on this story. She has more on the neighbors' concerns and how the San Diego County Water Authority is responding.
Neighbors around here tell me they understand why this project has to be done. What they're unhappy about is its design and the way it's been carried out.
We have been very frustrated.
For months, this is what Nancy and Richard Lakeyear see every time they leave their Poway home. Construction in their front yard. It's been underway since October as part of the San Diego County Water Authority's first aqueduct facilities improvement project, one of the most extensive maintenance efforts in the agency's history. 99 structures along 21 miles of pipelines that transport water to the San Vicente Reservoir are being renovated at a cost of $66 million.
They're improving the pipeline. We know we have an easement. Those are not anything that we can change. What we wish would have changed is how they communicated with us.
Nancy says from the beginning, the Water Authority provided different start dates, and when the work did get underway, there was very little notice. The reason that's important is because she and her husband were told they had to remove some of the landscaping on an easement alongside their driveway for the work to start, which takes time, something Nancy tells me they weren't given.
There was a lot of confusion on, do we have to take them out? Because we've been told we could leave them in. We've been told we had to take them out. We kept trying to get it affirmed.
On top of that, the couple questions the project's design. A flat manhole cover workers used to access the pipeline is being replaced with this concrete structure, which will now be surrounded by gravel instead of the grass and plants that used to be here.
It blended in. And now we have a structure 20 foot by 20 foot with another 4-foot perimeter of crushed rock around it and the breathing tubes and whatever other devices they have at street level.
The same thing was installed in front of another home just down the street. Nancy showed me a final design document that reads homeowners' grass and saw would be replaced to pre-construction conditions, which the Water Authority now says they won't do.
These are brutal designs. And they have lowered the property values along here, and they affect our neighbors and everybody in the neighborhood.
Nancy and Richard presented their concerns at a recent Water Authority board meeting, but tell me they got no response. So I reached out on their behalf. A spokesperson told me this is a vital project to ensure we can continue to deliver water to the entire region. Pipeline structures are designed to provide safe access for crews to inspect and maintain our pipelines located on easements that predate other development. In this case, we've had dozens of communications with the property owners over nearly 2 years, and we're seeking to address their concerns while meeting current safety and technical requirements. Meantime, while the work outside Nancy and Richard's home is almost complete, they're hoping at the very least the Water Authority will make adjustments so that other homeowners don't have the same experience.
I would like to see them treated with respect.
Working for you, Shannon Handy, CBS 8.
And now, have you been here lately? Families visiting Fanuel Park in Pacific Beach will find the sandbox pretty bare compared to what it used to be. The city removed all the communal sand toys like shovels and plastic cars. A lot of kids would play with those or leave theirs there for other kids to play. Working for you, we did reach out to the city to find out why those are gone. The city explained that maintaining these toys interfered with regular park upkeep, and it posed safety concerns as broken pieces were being buried in the sand and toys left in walkways created hazards. City officials suggest families bring their own toys when they visit, which some say takes away the convenience of this park.
That's why I loved coming here, because everything was already here and I don't have to worry about the cleanup. And you can just donate old toys. It was great. It seemed like it also brought the community together.
This follows last year's removal of the park's main play structure that was deemed unsafe due to corrosion. Right now, we are taking a closer look at Robb Field in Ocean Beach. Despite being a popular park used by many families and young athletes, it is facing some serious issues, from potholes to aging facilities, safety concerns too. Our Brian White working for you in OB to find out what's being done to address these problems.
Yeah, there is a laundry list of issues that need fixing here at Robb Field, and plenty of concern from parents about safety with their kids who play sports here.
From huge potholes that'll put your axles to the test to gaping holes in the ball field's backstop.
Unfortunately, some of the infrastructure failings are here. We've got a hole in the fence we've been waiting years to get fixed.
And disgusting bathrooms that feel unsafe inside.
The bathrooms here are downright terrifying. You never know who you're going to encounter, what they're doing in there. We have to send chaperones with everybody who goes in there, every young person, and it shouldn't be like that.
Scott Lewis is president of the Peninsula Youth Softball Association. He says the parking lots are used by a lot of people experiencing homelessness and living in their vehicles.
I think it is such a vast space. There's such big parking lots that it has attracted a lot of the people who are the most desperate in San Diego right now for housing. And, you know, this just isn't the right place for them.
I reached out to the City of San Diego Parks and Recreation. They said long-term plans are in the works to overhaul the entire park and sports fields. These restrooms here, they'll be replaced for $2.5 million with a brand new comfort station. And the parking lots will be redone for $6 million. All of this paid for by the Mission Bay Park Improvement Fund and the city's Parks for All of Us program. I'm told it's all in the design and permitting phase until November of next year, at which point they'll put out a call for construction bids.
I mean, everybody knows that there's so much red tape that it's just going to be years down the line, and by the time that happens, my kids are all going to be out of softball.
In the meantime, I put in some get-it-done reports for potholes and the hole in the fence, and I'm told they'll be fixed as funding and staffing allows.
There is money that's ready to be used to make this a better place. All we got to do is get it done. We could transform this from a scary place to a wonderful place.
Working for you in Ocean Beach, Brian White, CBS 8.
And now, after months of waiting, state officials released updated fire maps for Southern California. They do show where wildfires are most likely to occur. CBS 8's Shannon Handy working for you on this and shows us the situation right now here in San Diego County and what this means for all of us homeowners.
CAL FIRE has been releasing these maps in installments over the past 6 weeks. It's the first time they've been updated to this extent in nearly 15 years. Today, we learn millions of Californians are in fire danger zones, including the majority of people who live in San Diego County.
Given the severity of fires we've seen over the past several years, it should come as no surprise where San Diego County ranks.
Overall in Southern California, we're seeing a 26% increase in the areas designated in that highest level.
Daniel Berlin is the state's fire marshal. He says the updated maps have been in the works for years. In 2023, they ranked just a third of the state land CAL FIRE overseas. These new ones now include city jurisdictions as well. They come at a time when public anxiety is at its peak. In January, fires ravaged parts of Los Angeles County, becoming among the worst in California's history. The updated maps depict the danger Southern California is under. Yellow indicates a moderate fire hazard zone, orange is high, and red is very high. The majority of San Diego County is in the red, places like Poway, Santee, and Chula Vista. This list shows where San Diego municipalities ranked in 2011. Back then, more than 646,000 acres were designated as very high fire zones. That number has since jumped to over 817,000 acres.
Severity of wildfires that we've been experiencing across California has only gotten worse. And so it was really important for us to get a new map that more accurately depicts the potential of a wildfire and the likely fire behavior.
So what does this mean for people who live in certain zones? Current property owners in the high and very high zones must comply with landscaping requirements like maintaining 100 feet of defensible space. They also have to disclose their fire zone in real estate transactions. New builds in those areas have to follow certain codes, including having fire-resistant roofs and rain gutters, as well as ember-resistant attic and garage vents.
So there's no retrofitting requirement for a home that's existing. Of course, we absolutely recommend that all homes in fire hazard severity zone areas are taking steps to harden their home.
What about insurance rates? Chief Berlant says insurers already use their own maps, so these likely won't apply.
They've already incorporated many of these weather factors and other elements into their risk modeling, and so we don't expect to see any direct impact.
To see what zone your home is in, we have a link to the maps on CBS8.com. Shanna Handy, CBS 8.
A lot more to come here. Up next, people forced out of their homes as the earth started moving around them. What these residents want from the city and who they're blaming for this sinkhole. And later on, the Padres back in action for a new season, the health impact of a grueling travel schedule this year. Welcome back. Right now, sea lions are falling ill along our shoreline. SeaWorld's rescue team says they've brought in 20 over the past week, each suffering from ingestion of domoic acid that's found in a type of algae that fish eat. Sea lions then, of course, consume those fish, so it gets to them. We're told as the toxin builds up in the sea lions, it actually causes disoriented behavior, even seizures. Some have also died from this. The SeaWorld team is flushing the acid out of the sea lions' systems with fluids after they're able to rescue them. And those who recover could be released back to the ocean in a month's time. So they're trying to save the ones they can. It has now been 2 years since the sinkhole opened up this near a La Jolla condo complex. All of the residents are still displaced. The anniversary comes as another lawsuit was just filed accusing the city of San Diego and its contractor of negligence. CBS 8's Jenny Day working for you from Gilman Drive and has this update.
There were civil engineers out here just today continuing to assess just how much the foundation has moved. Initial assessments show the earth shifted by at least 7 inches when this sinkhole first opened up.
I live on the upper right corner of this building here.
For 19 years, Tommy Coling lived here at La Jolla Terrace. In October 2023, the building was red tagged after the ground gave way.
The police came. They came onto my balcony. They were witnessing the whole thing, and they wanted to get everybody out as soon as possible.
It was first in March of 2023 when a smaller sinkhole opened up following heavy rain. The city hired Orion Construction Corporation to do emergency repairs. But 7 months later, a storm drain pipe the size of this one collapsed.
Water was escaping from the shoring unit. Slabs of dirt was falling every 5 minutes. Sounded like mini avalanches.
12 families total were forced to move out and have been in hotel rooms paid for by the city ever since.
Dates come and go, holidays come and go, but we're still in the same spot.
I've been working for you on this story several times before. The sinkhole was enormous, 80 feet wide, 40 feet deep. This is that same spot today. Windows, however, remain boarded up and cracks cover the walls.
It looks like a massive earthquake came through.
I met with the 2 attorneys who now represent the Homeowners Association and several of its owners.
We're looking to help them recover the lost property value, the lost value, and to make the building safe, as well as the emotional distress having to live through this.
Their lawsuits aim to have these condos demolished and rebuilt, meaning residents could be displaced several more years. They claim both the city and Orion were negligent in maintaining the storm drain and reckless when making the repairs.
The city probably has knowledge of the fact that these can rust through, and they should be checking and maintaining them. I believe the city and Orion do want to resolve this case, but it's a slow process.
Those impacted the most just want to get back home and want it done right. I reached out to the city, but they do not comment on pending litigation.
It's what's lurking below that scares us.
The next step is a court hearing at the end of April. We'll keep you posted. Reporting in La Jolla, Jenny Day, CBS 8.
Turning now to the Padres, they will be traveling more this season than most of the competition. So coming up next, we are speaking with experts about how all of those flights affect their performance on the field. It's here, everybody. Baseball season. Yes, we are in it. Finally here. The Padres begin 2025 with a 7-game homestand here at Petco Park. Yes, 7 in a row at home. After that, the Friars will then hit the road, actually starting one of the toughest travel schedules of any team in Major League Baseball. The Padres will fly more than 45,000 miles this season. Working for you, CBS 8's Steve Price talked to a doctor about how all that traveling affects the players.
Travel definitely has an effect on baseball teams, especially those heading from the West Coast to the East Coast. Studies show that pitchers give up more home runs and batters hit into more double plays. And for doctors, there's the health concerns.
To left field, struck pretty well. Back goes De La Cruz, looking up, and it is gone.
Before the Padres can hit the ball, they'll be hitting the road with one of the worst travel schedules in all of baseball this season.
The time zone changes and sleep issues, I think it can be a challenge.
Dr. Mark Schultzel, an orthopedic surgeon at Sharp, treats a lot of baseball players and says the long season combined with heavy travel can definitely take a toll on even elite athletes.
Doing this day in and day out can have effects on muscle growth and muscle regrowth.
Here's a map showing the results of a travel study by NJ Bet. The Dodgers, who open the season in Japan, will travel the most, followed by the Athletics and then the Padres, who will travel 45,509 miles this season.
To put that into perspective, it's about 10,000 more than the league average, and about 20,000 more than the Cleveland Guardians, who will be traveling the least this year.
Northwestern University actually did a study on this back in 2017 called How Jet Lag Impairs Major League Baseball Performance. Their findings:
pitchers were most affected, particularly by giving up more home runs, and teams that were traveling eastward. So, obviously with that sort of circadian clock really getting thrown off for players that are hopping over multiple time zones.
The Padres have a particularly rough travel stretch in July. They start by heading from San Diego to Washington, D.C., where they'll play 3 games against the Nationals in the Eastern time zone. Then they fly to Miami to take on the Marlins for another 3 games, making it 6 games in 6 days. From there, they head to St. Louis, which is in the Central time zone. They'll play the Cardinals 4 days in a row, making it 10 games in 10 days. Then they fly back home for 3 games. That's 13 games in 13 days before they finally get a day off. Doctors say it leads to a lot of wear and tear, especially later in the season.
Everything from ankle injuries to elbow and shoulder injuries, overthrowing injuries, and then also muscle sprains themselves. So hamstring, calf injuries, things like that are much more common.
A total of 8 teams will fly more than 40,000 miles this season. 7 of them are out here on the West Coast. In case you're wondering, that 8th team, the Miami Marlins, on the southern end of the East Coast. At Petco Park, Steve Price, CBS 8.
Yeah, a total of 8 teams traveling more than 40,000 miles this season. As Steve mentioned, 7 on the West, the other, the Miami Marlins. And now, turning to the Port of... Turning now to the Port of San Diego and those parking rates. They're increasing in some locations, but they do promise to keep thousands of free spaces. So we've broken it down for you here on the screen. Spanish Landing Park, the rate will go from $1 to $2 next Wednesday, then $2.50 an hour on July 1st. Embarcadero Marina Parks, it'll go from $1.75 up to $2.50 next Wednesday. And at Shelter Island, it'll be $2.25 next week and $2.50 on July 1st. Parking at nearly a dozen other locations like Cesar Chavez Park and Harbor Island will remain free. Port officials say the rate increases to meet rising demand and improve parking turnover. And that is going to do it for us here on CBS 8. Remember, if there's something you want us to look into, email us right there, working for you, at cbs8.com. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us.